I can't believe I'm saying this, but Plunder Patrol may not be the best deck. We have a new sleeper deck, boys, and that is, get ready for this, the most adorable archetype ever printed, Melffys. I know, I'm actually surprised I'm saying this, but no cap, Melffys is pretty poggers, especially after Phantom Rage. And so in today's video, I wanted to discuss Melffys, what they're going to be looking like post Phantom Rage, how insane of a buff Phantom Rage is as a set for Melffys, and why this may be the new best deck, Before we get into this, make sure to like and subscribe this video if you enjoy my content and want to see more of it, and with that, let's begin. So before we can break down why this deck is going to be so good, or at least what changes, I need to give a basic understanding of what the deck is. And to do that, we need to discuss the Melffy core. So there are two crucial monsters to this archetype in the main deck, that being Puppy and Caddy. They both have an effect when your opponent normal or special summons, or if an opponent's monster targets Melffy, Puppy, or Caddy for an attack, you're able to return Melffy, Puppy, or Caddy to the hand, and either for Puppy, you can special summon a level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck, which is important with a card like Kalantosa because that means Puppy's just a disruption piece, and then Caddy is going to be able to add a beast monster from your deck to your hand. Now what's important here is that Puppy says you can only summon a level 2 or lower beast from deck, meaning cards like Kalantosa, Tri-Brigade Saras, a new card coming out in Phantom Rage. You can even summon a Caddy, whereas Caddy is going to be able to bounce itself and add any beast, which includes the new Zoo King Alpha or the old Rescue Cat, which both of these interactions are very crucial to know. Now with that in mind, as you can already tell, I mean, these effects are pretty pog. You're able to return them, that's inherently a +1. Now even though they're a +1 like effect, you need to keep in mind that they're not going to be good by themselves. They're going to need targets in order to make this deck competent, and fortunately this archetype has a plethora of good targets. For example, Puppy can summon Kalantosa. Kalantosa is crucial to this deck because when it's special summoned by the effect of a beast monster, you can target a card on the field and destroy that target. And this comes up with not only Puppy but other monsters in your extra deck that I'll discuss later. Caddy being able to search is also crucial. If you have a leftover Kalantosa on the field and you Caddy bounce into a Hoppier Squadron can synchro with the Kalantosa into a Herald of the Arclight, getting you another disruption piece. Or if you have a level 4 on field, you can synchro for cards like Desert Locust or Vulcan the Divine in order to act as more disruption. So the standard core is going to be 3 Puppy, 3 Caddy, 2 Kalantosa, 1 Hoppier Squadron, and then your other beast targets. So for example, Rescue Cat is an essential 3 of in this deck, and there used to be an argument for playing Nimble Beaver over Cat, but right now you have to play Cat specifically because of the new Joyous Melffys, which I'll discuss in a second. But then we also need to discuss the 2 new beast monsters that really make an impact in this archetype, Zoo King Alpha and Tri-Brigade Saras. So Zoo King Alpha, I mean, we all know what this card does at this point. This is Pankratops 2.0, and the fact that it's searchable in Melffys is a big freaking deal. You want to main deck at least 2 to 3 copies of Alpha. Technically, you can also main deck 1 copy, especially for budget players. This is going to be important to know. So don't feel discouraged if you can't afford all 3. The card is really good, but it's not mandatory in the deck as a 3 of as of right now. And then Saras is really good because Saras being a good searchable target. It's just another card that applies a ton of pressure. It's a good normal summon because it's going to get you into either a Tri-Brigade link or the Ancient Warrior link and apply more pressure via that manner. And then you're going to be able to overlay with it into something like a Melffy of the Forest or Excited Melffy. So Saras is definitely crucial to this new version of Melffy. You don't want to play 3 copies of it because the fact that you have to discard a card is actually quite relevant unless you're discarding Kalantosa, but if you have Tri-Brigade Saras, you're most of the time wanting to normal summon it or revive it in some manner just because you're not trying to go ahead and discard one of your good Melffy monsters in order to special summon it. Next, we need to talk about other crucial pieces to the strategy, and that is going to come in the form of the extra deck. So first, let's discuss Melffy of the Forest. This card is essential to this archetype's success. It reads, you can summon it by using 2 level 2 monsters, already very generic, and then you can detach a material to add a Melffy card from your deck to your hand, which is a pretty poggers effect. And it didn't need to get any better, but it just does. If another face-up Melffy you control returns to your hand, except during the damage step, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated while it is face-up on the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. And both of these effects are really good, but most importantly, that search effect is going to be relevant for not only getting you access to your puppy and caddy turn 1 via your extra deck, making Obedient Schooled and Rescue Cat actually potent cards to get access to your engine, but additionally, the bounce effect, when a monster is bounced, you can negate something or prevent it from attacking, is really freaking solid, because, I mean, hey, who doesn't like free negation? Next, let's talk about Joyous Melffys, the newest addition from Phantom Rage. This reads 2+ level 2 beast monsters. You can detach 1 material from this card. This turn, your Melffy monsters can attack directly. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target 1 Beast Xyz monster you control, return it to the extra deck, then you can special summon level 2 or lower beast monsters from your graveyard up to the number of materials the return monster had. You can only use this effect once per turn. And you may think only that second effect is relevant. And I mean, I'm not gonna blame you for thinking that, especially because that second effect is so good. Because let's put it like this, right? If you draw Rescue Cat or Obedient Schooled, you summon any beasts from your deck, then you overlay for Joyous Melffys, and on your opponent's turn, those Melffys that, and whatever beast monsters in fact, that you summoned from Rescue Cat and Obedient Schooled are now relevant because you're able to special summon them back with Excited Melffys. And then the fact that Excited Melffys can bring back a Kalantosa is relevant because that'll enable a pop. Then if you summon a puppy, then you're going to be able to use its effect later on in that turn. And same with Caddy. Gosh darn, this archetype is looking really good. With all of the advantage you can gain with these cards being so resource intensive, and the deck gaining even more aggression through the addition of even just 1 Tri-Brigade Karass, this deck's looking really strong. But then it just keeps getting better and better. Next, let's talk about the card that arguably is weirdly the most important card in the deck. Not in the sense that like everything else isn't important, but like in terms of the format and this deck actually being potent, you needed number 64 Ronin Raccoon Sendeyu for this deck to be good. The reason why is because this card is exactly what the deck needs to be able to apply a ton of pressure in terms of damage. So Ronin Raccoon Sendeyu is going to detach 1 special token, and its attack becomes equal to the current attack of the monster on the field with the highest attack. This means Ronin Raccoon is a Dragoon out. This, I mean, already that's super important because otherwise this deck would struggle against Dragoon. But because it has that out, ignoring the Dogmatica cards, that's super strong. Then we need to keep in mind that if there's a 2500 attack monster on the field, or even just 2000, the Sendeyu becomes 3000 damage, plus you're already going to have a 2000 attack monster like Joyous Melffys, so that means you're going to apply even more pressure. And then Joyous Melffys, like I was saying earlier, that detached to attack directly is going to be relevant because it means you can just beat into your opponent's face with your Melffys, and even though it doesn't sound like much, it's important because we get Negalogia AA-Zeus, and you guys already know I've been talking about this card and hyping it up because it's just that freaking good. This card's gonna make an impact, and it's really good in Melffys because you can just detach 1 from Joyous Melffys and enable Zeus access immediately. Next, I do want to talk about Mannequin Cat because Mannequin Cat is weirdly good in this deck because you can either revive an Earth from your opponent's grave and summon any beast from your deck, or you can go ahead and summon a light monster and get your Dogmatica engine. And speaking of the Dogmaticas, you may think you don't play those, but you 100% play the Dogmaticas in this deck. You don't need to per se, but if you can't afford them, they're definitely a big buff to this strategy. The reason why is because they provide even more resourceful plays while applying a ton of pressure. The Dogmatica cards, we all know, they're really exceptional, and they're shockingly good in this deck as well, even if you draw Obedient Schooled, because you just summon 3, summon Joyous Melffys, and then normal summon Ecclesia and use the effect. Because you can normal summon Ecclesia, the two engines do not conflict. And of course, the last thing I do want to mention is this deck of course gets a buff by Tri-Brigade. Now it's weird in this deck specifically because you want to be using a card like Melffy Hide and Seek in order to shuffle 3 beasts back into your deck and draw a card. It may not sound like that important of a card, but trust me, it is absolutely crucial because this is the card, Hide and Seek, that enables your longevity in the deck. Because weirdly enough, you go through your beast monsters extremely quickly. If you summon 3 monsters off Obedience Schooled, that's 1 Kalantosa gone. Rescue Cat can lose another beast monster. So, you know, Hide and Seek's gonna come up. But if you are able to expend some graveyard resources, you can summon a big Tri-Brigade link or summon Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lords as just a free disruption, which of course is really freaking good. The send effect to, well, bounce a card your opponent controls is not even just on the opponent's turn like Hieratic Seal, which means it helps you clear boards much more effectively and acts as a disruption piece on either player's turn. And not to mention, if all of that wasn't enough already, with the insane 1-card plays, the amount of grind game this deck is able to have, it gets even better because you have a ton of main deck space even left over in order to play cards like Hand Traps, Cosmic Cyclone, etc. in order to stop your opponent or deal with your opponent's board. I've rambled enough. This is my take on Melffy's post the new set Phantom Rage. Do I think it's better than Plunder? I don't know, time will tell. Maybe Melffy will become my new best deck or whatever the case may be. But for right now, I do want to make a point. I think Melffy is being slept on. I think this deck is shockingly decent. If it's not meta, especially after a ban list, then you know, I think it's going to be a good rogue deck. But regardless, Melffy's second best deck, boys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe like I said at the beginning, and with that, I hope to see you soon.